Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Born to be Wild Listener Series, Season 6, Week 4. My name is Nate Wolf from the Born to be Wild podcast. I'm joined tonight by my great friends, Electric Sheep City and Blue Train. Welcome back, friends. How are you?
Meowdy, meowdy.
Doing
fantastic. Well. And ready to cast this match between Kay and SchmoopieDaddy.
Yes, we've got a fun match tonight for you guys. If you're watching for the first time and you're not familiar, the Born to be Wild Listener Series is a weekly Wild Hearthstone tournament series where we have fun deck building restrictions, some based on lore and some based on just wacky creations that we have thrown together. Quickly, I'm going to go through the rules of the format here. It is played in the Conquest format, so if you're not familiar, here's how it works. Each week, players submit 4 decks consisting of separate classes. Classes and deck lists are hidden until after the weekly submission deadline. Once classes and deck lists are revealed, players have an opportunity to review and ban one of their opponent's decks. Ban selections are hidden until both players have submitted their bans, at which point they are revealed. In the Conquest format, when a player wins with the deck, that player must then move on to a different deck. The losing player may switch decks, but is not required to do so. The victor is the first player to win matches with all 3 decks.
And of course, our listener series has a different theme and different deck building restrictions for each week. This week is week 4 of the listener series, and the deck building challenge is called Attack on the Sunwell. We'll turn it over to Recorded Goliath the Dwarf for our lore segment for this week.
Under orders from his new master, Arthas retrieved the ashes of Kel'Thuzad to raise him as a Lich using a powerful elven font of magic, the Sunwell. During an unstoppable march of undead to claim it, the Well's Blood Elven defenders were slain and raised into undeath. Their kingdom of Silvermoon was destroyed, for nothing could stand against the might of the Scourge.
So the primary challenge for Attack on the Sunwell is that each deck must contain at least 15 spells, and that spells must be at least 4 different mana costs, though more is okay. The secondary challenge is that only spells from 2 spell schools can be used in each deck. Each player must use at least 4 spells per spell school. Of course, additionally, spells that are general or neutral can be used in any and all decks. Additionally, the week is called Attack on the Sunwell. The Sunwell must be included in all decks. Even though the Sunwell itself is a holy spell, for this challenge, it is considered a neutral spell and does not count towards or against the spell school requirement. And finally, the Scourge grows. A minimum of 7 undead minions must be played in all decks for each player. So that is the challenge for week 4, Attack on the Sunwell. Let's take a look at the decks for this week.
All right, so Kay has Mage, Priest, Warlock, and Demon Hunter. And it looks like the deck that SchmoopieDaddy banned is the Priest. Looking at the Mage here, it looks like there are some Discover cards. I've got Ruined Orb and some Ignite for some value late game. The Undead cards, I see a Blood Mage Thalnos, which is a great card. There are some Discover things here. So the Azure Explorer, which has got some lifesteal as well. Molten Reflection to make copies of things. Incanter's Flow to reduce the cost. Drakefire Amulet for some big dragons late game. Looks like an interesting build over here. Looking at the Warlock, I'd see giants, many giants, which makes me very excited. Oh, yeah. Love to see it. Molten Giant, Mountain Giant, 2 Sea Giants. Kel'Thuzad is quite scary. We do see one of our new signature cards here. I'm going to mispronounce the name, right? Drakon Drathir is in here. And a Vandar. It's really exciting to reduce the cost of all of those. Looks really fun. And then Kay is known for her Demon Hunter decks in the playtesting, especially. Like, she's brutal with these, and I'm really excited to see this Demon Hunter in particular.
Absolutely, especially with that Thaddeus being able to just get stuff out super cheap. I can't wait to see that one. And of course, Vandar makes another appearance in that Demon Hunter list too.
What a great way to reduce the cost of these like big hefty minions on the top end. It's exciting, and it's a card that we don't see played a whole lot, so I'm excited for that. All right.
Absolutely. So switching gears over to look at SchmoopieDaddy's decks. His mage, which is a quest mage, has been banned. So Schmoopie does still have access to his druid, rogue, and warlock.
Speaking of ruined mithril rod, we were just talking about that on the podcast earlier, and he's running 2 copies in his warlock list here, alongside a Dread Lich Tamsin, Tamsin's Phylactery. In terms of undead, I see a Tamsin Rome. So it looks like this has got some potential like OTK here, maybe? What's the death rattle that it will pull?
The death rattle is Naval Mine. This is a mine warlock.
Oh, I missed it there. It's too small on my screen. Mine. Okay. All right.
Mine warlock. All right.
Sounds fun and interactive.
Yeah. Get the mine to go off, then you play Tamsin and Tamsin's Phylactery, and then that lets you play double Phylactery and get a ton of those on board, and then you can use Plague of Flames to deal with your whole board for that OTK.
Pretty spicy.
It is. Yeah. I recall Ben from work playing a ton of this, actually, and I've lost to it a number of times.
Moving on to the Druid. SchmoopieDaddy's Druid appears to be a pretty fun combo Druid. So, of course, we've got a Nubricon, which is an undead, and Astalor and Bran, as well as Wildheart Guff. SchmoopieDaddy also has an alternate combo in Rivendare War Rider. So additional combo and OTK potential there as well.
There's actually some good armor synergy here that with some cards we don't see play that often, but they are undead. So I think it was an Under King and the Crypt Keeper have armor synergy and they're undead. So that'll be interesting to potentially see those played as well.
And of course, Lotheb is undead as well. Very excited to see Lotheb come out here too.
All right, last up is the Rogue deck here. I see a Scabs and a Spirit of the Sharks. There's definitely some combo stuff going on. It looks like potions because I've got the Vile Apothecary and the Ghoulish Alchemist, right? So these are undead cards that play the new potions, and then some bounce effects here with the Shadow Steps. Should be interesting for sure. Definitely some combo potential as well. I see Razor Fall Volley. So whenever they are ready to queue up, I'm ready for them. Okay, they're getting ready into the first match here. And for those of you watching along at home, you'll see the hero powers up in the upper left or up to the right of each hero portrait. So when they win with a class, you'll see a green check over it. And of course, the decks that are banned or the classes that are banned have the red X.
So we've got Kay starting out on that mage, and SchmoopieDaddy starting out on that druid, and unfortunately having a bit of a heavy hand to start with, but that Floof Skloop will help out eventually.
Yeah, he tossed some pretty early cards, probably because he's looking for some specific pieces. But early Astalor is always a reasonable tempo play, but probably looking to get pieces assembled, so mulliganing aggressively.
Yeah, a Nubricon is a big piece. And then, of course, the Ferocious Howl into the Crypt Keeper will help tide him over to assemble more of those pieces. Kay, however, was able to get the Tainted Zealot out on 2. Schmoopie booped into it to get rid of the Divine Shield. And it looks like we're going to see Incanter's Flow come down on 4 for Kay to discount that deck.
Awesome. All right, Ferocious Howl is going to get him 8 armor and a 0-cost Crypt Keeper.
Pretty nice tempo play. I was wondering if he was going to play the Twig to get a tick off it and kill the minion once and for all, but probably pound for pound, this was a better value play.
0 mana 4/6 with taunt, not too bad.
On top of gaining 8 armor that turn. Seems good.
It's like a druid doing druid things.
Yeah, getting the Twig down now, starting the countdown. Praying to top deck that steer.
Kay getting the first Ignite in hand, and of course it is discounted from that Incanter's Flow effect.
I like the skeletons in the deck as undead. There's synergy on the top end if you want to go that route with like Kel'Thuzad or whatever. Ooh, and some interesting dragons here.
Yeah, Azure seems to fit the theme a bit more. Malagos was a little spicier, but probably the card draw and the spell damage is valued here.
Yeah, I agree. It makes sense, and especially like drawing cards now that they've all been discounted seems really nice.
Looks like Schmoopie top decked Nate's favorite card in the game, which will get played, Astalor.
As on curve as Schmoopie would want to play it. Of course, the mana thirst of 5, meaning that deal 2 damage effect was not in effect until this turn.
I hope they delete that card.
Well, looks like Kay is going to delete it with an Ignite while juicing them at the same time. It was interesting because, I was going to say, Schmoopie's a bit on a clock here, but Guff's going to certainly extend the duration of that clock, netting him armor, mana, card draw.
Wow, that was a snap pick too.
Yep. Because the only thing better than one Guff.
Yeah.
You've heard of first Guff, but are you familiar with second Guff?
Unfortunately, I think we all are.
Go up to 40 mana. Ooh, interesting. I like that. Drakari and Balmer are giving a reborn to the volatile skeleton, so we'll end up doing extra damage here.
Especially with that
here
scale
comes
of next
the Floop Scoop turn for unlimited mana, and because we have Guff down, we're going to be able to extend that past 10.
All right, this is just mean at this point. Bran into Astalor, like, come on. I know.
It's your favorite, Nate.
Then Schmoopie can also hero power for mana to get the 10 mana Astalor next turn.
Yeah, he probably was a little bit more aggressive with the use of that Floop, knowing that next turn, essentially, we're going to have, the 20 mana.
Yeah, and yeah, if Bran survives, he can like Astalor, which is really crazy.
On top of that, can Anubricon Astalor, which is even grosser.
I think I just threw up a little bit.
You're welcome.
Well, unless we see some kind of Ignite pop-off, like right now, this is looking a little dicey. It's really hard to come back from these huge swings that the Druid is capable of.
We definitely saw it. I mean, I'm glad that she was able to find it, but unfortunately,
that Anubricon double Astalor is pretty game-ending, however, unfortunately. So we will see SchmoopieDaddy take game 1. The Druid attaining the win on the back of the broken combo.
Ah, the fun police.
Druid does Druid things. Breaking news at 11. As much as we admonish the play pattern, it can be tricky to sequence, and it was sequenced well. A lot of quick decisions needed to be able to execute, managing all those resources that you accumulate so quickly. Schmoopie did a fine job of that, so kudos.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
I only give him a hard time because he's a friend.
and the heads up of having the brand to play out with the 5 mana Astalor, setting up, not even needing Bran to stay on board for the full combo the next turn, was heads up. And this time we have Schmoopie on the Mine Warlock, and Kay over there on her own Warlock, that giant Kel'Thuzad Warlock. So very exciting to see this play out.
Yeah, the Giants and the Vandar. Love to see a Vandar be top decked over here. Oh, and 1 Agony already. 2 Another one.
All three.
What are the chances of that happening? Wow.
That was one in 28, then one in 27, then one in 26.
You're a very good math student.
Side effects.
They did the math.
Trust me.
So Schmoopie with the Rune Mithril Rod in hand already has a Naval Mine and a Wicked Shipment to get a board after that. Really just needs the Tamsin's Phylactery and, of course, the smaller Tamsin herself as well. So shipping that Wicked Shipment to search for those additional combo pieces.
Kay's got removal here, but I don't know that she wants to play it because all these cards are like only 2 attack.
Yeah, I agree with Kay that playing it out now is the way to go, because pretty much all of the minions that Schmoopie is playing are these kind of small 2 attack minions. So preserving the chip damage while she can is a pretty heads up. Really, if she could do that, the board was wide enough, keep Naval Mine from dying to have the Death Rattle go into the Tamsin's Phylactery pool.
I feel obligated to point out that Rune Mithril Rod was released at 3 mana. I know that observation's been made before. I feel compelled to make it again.
This is the way.
No. Trust me.
All right. Well, the Sea Giant is now could now come down. Also, there's a Necrotic Ice that can come down. Also, Twisted Knowledge would discover 2 Warlock cards potentially. And Kay's health is a little bit low, but there's also 2 Mistresses of Mixture on the board that could bring it back up.
And with the eye on making that trade, Kay goes ahead and plays a Necrotic Geist to get the value.
Hey, there's the card of the week, the Sunwell.
Schmoopie going face to drop that Dreadlich Tamsin, draw 3 cards and further discount his hand. Imagine is what we will see. Decides to trade first.
Yeah, he still needs to find his combo pieces.
He has some flexibility insofar as that with the Mistress proccing, K will be down to 12, so not exactly having to reach that far down to get it. Interestingly enough, while a lot of cards were discounted, perhaps not the ones needed to immediately effectuate the combo, although I suspect it will not be that big of a problem unless Kay finds a way to heal a little bit, which doesn't look likely.
Well, there's this Drakon Drathyr, if it can, that could heal for 6. A full-blown evil will clear the board, but I think that, I don't know, it's kind of a toss-up.
Yeah, I like the full-blown evil here as well, especially with Caster Vision. We know that Schmoopie has the Plague of Flames. While he probably wants to hold on to that, being able to deal with the Drakon Drathyr without trading into it is pretty valuable. We also, however, see the Drain Soul, so he'll be able to do that regardless. But Kay playing around what she can makes sense.
And Schmoopie being able to just cycle with impunity, effectively being beyond full health now, really not feeling that much pressure, and discovering one of the remaining crucial combo pieces with the Phylactery.
Yeah, he just has to watch his hand size. So if, like, worst case scenario, right, he doesn't want to overdraw. Just another reason I think we saw those imps come down is, like, the hand was getting a little bit full, and Wanted to be careful not to overdraw anything.
All right, so there you go, Nate. There's the lifesteal minion that just hit the board. Try and get that life total back up. So
I like it. It's healing. Plus, it's an undead.
Schmoopie, however, has the combo. We're going to see the Tamsin's Phylactery come down for the mine effect. An additional mine played out.
And with the 2 drained souls and the trade should be enough. Oh, or just end it with Plague of Flames. Didn't see that in the hand. Got discounted with the Ruined Mythal Rod. Going for the flashy 18 overkill.
Yeah, and that's a really hard matchup for Kay there in particular as well. That hers was more of a controlling deck. And with Schmoopie being able to just combo it down, wanted to go long, kind of just delaying attacks into her face. Schmoopie was kind of okay with that, being able to just go over the top without relying on board presence.
Yeah, he's definitely wanting to stall and draw out the combo, right? It's really tricky to play a control into a combo deck.
I make my own luck.
And now, of course, Kay is known for her Demon Hunter decks. So very excited to see her cue that up next. Meanwhile, Schmoopie has switched over to the Rogue, his remaining class to play out. I'm excited to see. I couldn't quite identify because the other two were combo decks. What the combo was in this one, unless it's just another Astalor.
I think it's based around these the concoctions. I think I was saying potions or something, but he's running the Vile Apothecary and a couple of other like potion cards with a bunch of bounce effects. I could be wrong. I had a tricky time identifying it as well.
Okay, getting early chip damage in with that Demon Hunter hero power. And Schmoopie playing the Vile Apothecary on curve and being rewarded with the draw concoction, Gleaming Concoction for part 1 of this one. With that, Vile Apothecary sticking around through Kay's subsequent turn. Schmoopie could have held on to that and gotten an additional thing added to it. I wonder how that works, the concoction works with the Vile Apothecary. It does, in fact, still add to it, which is really cool.
That is an on-curve Vandar. That's pretty scary.
And a diamond Vandar at that. I love it.
Oh, that just adds to it. But like,
yeah,
it's another combo deck, and really these combo decks love these grindy control decks. But with Vandar, we're seeing this really quickly transform into more of an aggro-like type of situation, which is going to put the pressure on Schmoopie.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, your favorite card coming down and getting bounced.
Oh
Nate.
no. Oh no. And look, he can bounce it 2 more times.
But here's the thing. If you're bouncing it in the initial form, you're getting a lot more lot less total value, which will certainly hurt potentially in the long game.
That's a 4 mana Priestess of Fury that Kay just drew.
This is going to get out of control really fast.
That's awesome.
Oh,
What I was saying, like,
Love to
this
see
is
it.
not like the last. This is not like the Warlock. This is going to be putting on a ton of pressure.
My hand is too full.
Our gift of the arcane enlightens us.
Turn it into the frying pan.
Schmoopie dealing with Priestess of Fury and getting Scabs back into the hand to be able to discount probably the Astalors? Question mark.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't know what he's playing, to be honest. Well, there's a discounted Thaddeus, Vile Call, Blood Herald. Kay does have the coin, so we could see one of these 7 mana cards pop out as well. If she needs some healing, we saw Illidari Studies. There's an I-Beam here. And a 0 mana Sunwell, although a full hand, so it doesn't help a whole lot.
Yeah, so you said one of those 7 mana cards could come down. However, Thaddeus being on the odd train right now, we shall see what.
Oh, what a heads up play! I love it because
snap pick too. She recognized it immediately.
Yeah, I love it because it's so difficult to get that shark out of the way, and that really like cramps SchmoopieDaddy style. Oh, well.
Man, Schmoopie is just on fire with the draws tonight. My goodness.
Wow, I can hardly believe it.
Our gift of frost shields us.
Well, that's 4 Astalors.
So the answer was in fact Astalor. Right, so Kay being able to play Thaddeus out this turn, as well as an Abominable Lieutenant, I imagine is what she's playing with her remaining mana.
Oh, wow.
So that Abominable Lieutenant could nosh on that Spirit of the Shark, but unfortunately she does not get that roll.
Oh, and there's the Tenwu. Okay, so yeah, I think he's just trying to bounce. Wow, 2 mana?
Come, friend. Let's see what you've got.
Another one.
Our gift of fire is
Ew. It's actually not quite enough.
That Abominable Lieutenant sticking around too. Love to see that from Kay. Schmoopie having to face tank it.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. All right. Can we do 9 damage? There is a way. If only we had the Green Ragnaros, whatever it was called.
Oh yeah, the Illidari Inquisitor.
Yes, 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 yes. And I think this deck runs too. But unfortunately, not seeing them at the moment.
Okay, playing to her outs.
Do we get any board clears here? There is a Defile, but
Defile, but we don't have a 1 or a 4, 5, 6, and 7.
if you know, and if she can figure out a way to deal with the scabs, this avalanche could potentially freeze. But she only has 5 mana left, so it's a little bit.
Yeah, and she's facing down now, only 8 on board, but then she already knows that there are 2 additional Astalors in hand. So just with the 8 and then the 7 from Astalor in hand, that should deal with it. Schmoopie, of course, playing the weapon first just to play around Noble Sack. And that will seal the deal.
Dang.
Fast and furious with those quick combos from SchmoopieDaddy. Unfortunately for Kaya, kind of playing a counter to her strategy with those, with the exception of the final one being more controlling decks. Schmoopie just winning the kind of rock paper scissors game in prep there, and they weren't even face off paired up against one another in the deck construction phase. So that was not targeted by SchmoopieDaddy to achieve that goal.
No, yeah. And tonight's match was a scrimmage to showcase the deck building here. Well, he also just top decked like an absolute god, right? I mean, I think it was such a heads up play by Kay to find a way to destroy the Spirit of the Shark, even though it had
Stealth, yeah,
invisible, stealth. There we go. And then he just top decked it like what? Oh, good games, very fast tonight. Wow, that was quick.
All right, so we will pop over to the other voice chat for our post-match interview with our contestants.
Hey.
Greetings, traveler.
Hey, KGGs.
D.
Yes.
Oh, I'm
played
pissed.
to you both.
I'm so pissed. Like, if I had drawn, like, I didn't draw my demon pieces. I had the 9-mana demon in hand, but I was at 8 mana. I mean, like, Thaddeus helped, and I'm glad I survived, like, so much Astalor nonsense, but it was still, like, I don't have, like, I mean, my demons are really what, like, give me the win here, or, like, going face. I mean, I do think I cleverly, like, I don't know, there was, like, a few different turning points where I felt like maybe I would have it in the bag, or, like,
It was it was really heads up play on the Spirit of the Shark with the Kurtrus, and I mean, we have caster vision, right? So you took care of that really well, and then he top decked the next one, and it was like, oh no,
it was brutal. I don't. I kept Astalor in the mulligan in that matchup because I'm like, all right, I think I win by just making as many Astalors as I possibly could. And I don't know if I like missed floated mana in that turn or if I could have gotten 3 down with like a like 10 woo nonsense. I sort of went into the turn and then I got lost in the calculus and just sort of was just like, all right, well let's let like Pillager, like muscle memory just sort of take over and spam as many missiles as possible and see how it goes. I was shocked that I cleared as much of the board as I could. I'd be fascinated to go back and see how many of that was lucky hits or if that was actually like evenly distributed, because I was pretty sure I was going to be leaving up some big chonkers, and
you know what, it was
having to just tank 8. It was like, all right.
It was very brave of you to face tank the 8 because there were 2 Illidari Inquisitors in that deck, and I think if one had been drawn, like, right, that would have been game over. So
I
dead either way, right? Like I had to like just get rid of it, and if I died to an Inquisitor, all right.
I was pretty excited to see Vandar on curve too. Like, that was great. You had to be scared, Schmoopie.
I mean, I had like the Abyssal, like I could have coined that, but like in practice, it's like if I coin it, it still doesn't do anything. So I kept the coin, but yeah, like I had. Well, I don't know. Maybe I should have tossed Sunwell. Like that was one of the ones I was like back and forth on. Should I really keep that, like in the curve or not? Oh, and then when I like froze your board, like I was just running out of time, or like froze the one Astalor. I was just like, I was looking for a way out because I really needed to clear more of the board, but because I had what was it, the I was blanking on the names, like the 3 mana or sometimes 1 mana outcast, deal 3 or whatever. Like
I-beam, yeah.
I-beam, yeah. So I had I-beam in hand. So I could also, but then I had the freeze piece, and well, I was just running out of time, and I forgot that it would deal more damage, but still, it was like, I need to go face, and I just don't have any face pieces. Like I had the 9 mana, but it's like, I only have 8 mana. Like, I can't, like...
I think he did the right. I think he did the right thing. That freezing there, like just taking out Tenwu and Scabs so that I can't punish
Yeah.
anymore with those. Though I think I was out of steps. I think I used my maximum number of
Yeah.
steps.
Yeah, I think you did.
I just
I
I,
put
I was just like, yeah, print Astalors and just throw them at the face and just hope that's enough.
Yeah, I had forgotten you had another Astral in hand. I mean, I was like, so maybe I would have done something different. But yeah, I was looking. Well, are you surprised by me tossing out the mage and letting you play druid, or was that?
No, you know
Um,
what? I wasn't sure what you were gonna ban. I thought you might ban Quest Mage on Feels, which I actually was pretty good at getting that list, getting the quest done by turns 5, 6.
yeah.
So like that wasn't a bad ban. I just honestly my main concern coming to the series is like how is the rogue gonna get through? Because that was the one where my series with OTZ this week, I got up on him 2-1, and then the rogue kept losing, and it was losing to like big stuff and big taunts, and I'm looking at
Mm-hmm.
the demon hunter and I'm like, that's an uncomfy matchup. And I'm looking
Well,
at what were your other decks? I'm looking at
so it was
like the big warlock, and I'm like, Lotheb does nothing here if you start getting big stuff down and
yeah.
like hitting me in the face with it. And the mage had
Well,
so much burn. The mage made me really, really nervous.
um, yeah. I don't know. Like, I had specifically brought well, like I said, I decided since I was playing Maxi, like, and I always like playtest against Maxi, it's like he brings fast stuff. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
he's like rank 1 half the time, and it's like, I should try to bring something faster. So if I hadn't brought like the mage and the priest, it would have been a rogue and a druid was where I was initially going. The druid was a ancient one build, and the rogue was another Garrett list. But
Gotcha. Yeah. You know what? I kind of liked I I respected your priest a lot. I was just like, all right, this looks like it could give me some trouble. I
well,
actually like I like the mage too. I just thought that you were it was unlucky that you queued that first, and I happened to queue the druid first.
well,
So I wasn't sure what you'd bring first. I thought you might go with like comfort with demon hunter, and I was like, all right, well I'll start with druid, and I think I just like I
well.
produced too much armor for it.
Well, yeah, like I wanted like the matchups I was thinking of, like I was happy to get I was actually thinking that I could maybe beat your Warlock was the one I was actually looking
Mm.
at because Demon Hunter, if I could get silence on the mine, if I could control the tempo, I mean just like the Warlock mirror, like if I had I mean, I just have a lot of removal with the Warlock build, so if I had
Yeah.
controlled the board better, like maybe I would have stood a chance, but yeah, I don't know. I was like, I ever thought that, and I probably spend more time looking at both like the mage build and the druid list than focusing on the rogue build. Like I barely looked at the rogue build. I was like, okay, you're just making big stuff, and well, I forgot about like scabs and like the shark could like Astalor can just like take it from here, but yeah.
Astalor is
Yeah,
definitely a feels bad card. I was complaining about it the whole time. So.
Well, yeah. The quest mage, like within the last week or so, I had run up against a similar list to that on ladder, and I was just like, I feel miserable. I felt salty afterwards. So I was like, it's too
I-
soon. I can't go
I thought it
against.
might catch a feels bad nerf.
Yeah, like it was
This is no
just
fun to sit
like
there.
at least with the druid, like I mean, yes, it's druid doing druid things, but it was just like I've played druid enough that I was like, well, I don't know, like I just haven't gotten to that point where I'm super salty after losing to a druid, like,
That
but
was
like,
another good draw. I found basically all the pieces except for sphere, and
mhm,
I had twig on curve and could have broken it if I needed to for that turn.
yeah,
That was kind of a dirty draw too. I
mhm,
thought the mage was all right. Again, like that kind of deck into my mind lock. If you're
yeah,
constantly sending damage at my face, like I'm not happy about it. He
Yeah.
had Enchanter's flow down on curve, which I was just like, I'm not happy about that. So like
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought you got kind of like hosed on the matchups a little bit.
Well, yeah, the
I like the
mage,
deck.
like, if I just didn't have any of, like, the spell to do, like, boss damage. Like, I wanted, and then, like, or in practice, I really like having more of the Reborn on, like, the skeletons or whatever, and I just barely drew that, but it's just, like, I don't really have the spells to, like, go ham with, I mean, of the two, yeah, the priest one I felt was stronger. Of the well, and Maxi also banned that one too. It was just like, yeah, this one kind of plays. This one can get nutty, but at the same time, like, I don't know, like, aggro's still not really my thing.
Yeah, and it's tricky because I think a lot of SchmoopieDaddy's decks were like combo oriented, and
Yeah.
it's tricky. Like combo against control is a difficult matchup.
Well, the other
Yeah.
thing, in counting, Schmoopie's mage, like, he has 13 cards that generate other cards, so that's 13 cards going towards the mage quest, versus if he doesn't get all the druid pieces, like, I mean, that's more selective. That was another thing that went into my decision making, was like, okay, like, half your deck is geared towards completing the quest on curve or whatever. It was like, yeah, gonna
Yeah,
skip that. But I don't know. I probably didn't need to think too long and hard about it, because it's just like, yeah, a lot of these. Well, I didn't have any taunts. That was the other thing. Was like, if I go up against Quest Mage and you just have taunt after taunt, it's like, I don't really have enough. I mean, the DH has some taunts, but I didn't really run taunts in my list, so it's just like, he just goes face. Like,
You
it's
never
just
know. You never know with the quest mage, because like in that list I had Astalor and Brand too. So like
Yeah.
I could
Yeah,
take as
that was
many
the other
turns as I
thing.
need and kind of generate whatever I need to generate to
Yeah.
try and scam through some big taunts or go over top, or
Yeah.
there's a lot of way it went. That's why I made a Cthulhu deck out of it, because it's just like, oh yeah, well, I buy time. You buy enough time and have infinite mana, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
So including play OG Cthulhu. So I
Yeah.
don't know. It was fun to build though. I thought it was a fun week to build. I thought the spell restriction was interesting without being too restrictive. There was a lot to do. I know that like I stole the Mind Lock from NHL, but like he had like 31 cards in his list, and I'm like, all right, well, I guess I get rid of an armor vendor.
Yeah.
But everything else was the Tempo Rogue I brought for fun, and it was my
Mhm.
weak link in my match this week. But
Yeah.
it like when it works, it works. It's just making it work. And the the druid was like, your typical just sort of Astalor druid with the Revendare
Yeah.
as like I was almost gonna, I had Revendare in hand. I was wondering if you were sitting on like a polymorph 4 to nuke the Revendare or not.
I molded away.
Oh, okay. I was a
I
little worried
had
about it. I was just like, I get 4 damage, but like I kind of want this Revendare down just for some inevitability. And
yeah.
yeah,
Well,
it's a fun
that was
week.
the other thing. You just didn't have a lot of draw. I mean, you had like some, like, what if you're doing more like armor gain, like, well, depending on, I don't know, it just like, yes, you have the Rivendare pieces or whatever, but it's just like, you don't have a lot of draw to get there. I mean, but then again, like,
Nah,
late in the game,
you're not wrong. You're not wrong. It was all Moonlit and Ferocious
yeah,
Howl and Guff and branching, and like
yeah.
there's no due process, right? Like I'm not gonna find them eventually.
Yeah,
So
so it was just like, okay, but it's like, I just have to get through the armor, I just have to, but then again, it's like, it's still Twig, it's still like, if you have Guff, like, you don't really proc Twig until you have already, like, geared up Guff or what, or ideally, that's the case, but, yeah, but yeah, I mean, in practice, like, the other thing that kind of made me switch gears was, like, I probably tweaked my rogue build 4 or 5 different times, and I still just wasn't winning on ladder. And winning on ladder for me is, like, I'm still in silver and gold, so it's like, if I'm not winning here, like, I'm definitely not winning. But then again, like, I'm
gotcha.
playing greedy, so it's like, it's to be expected, but...
You kind of have to down there a little bit. It's funny because like a lot of I find, since I do play down there from time to time, I find that if you don't play greedy enough, you get outgreeded and you lose those matches.
Yeah.
Like I've played decks where it's just like, oh great, I'm down here, I can finally play this, and you're still losing. It's not only too greedy for the top of ladder, but it's not greedy enough for the bottom of ladder. So you're kind of stuck in an interesting deck building position trying to build down there, just because it's like nothing's quite fast enough to test you, whereas things are probably a little bit greedier and are very punishing if you're playing anything slow. So it's I don't envy you trying to build on ladder down there because it's not easy.
Yeah, and it's tricky to test these decks on ladder as well. Like it's very difficult to, because the restrictions, like you're if you take it to ladder, you're not going to be playing against people with the same restrictions, and so it's like, well, I can try to play test with other people if we can coordinate times, or the only other option is really play it on ladder or play it against in casual, play against the innkeeper, but they're not optimal either. So it's a tricky balance.
Yeah, well, 100%. Usually I do it on ladder because, well, A, I'm at like the lower ranks, but B, I also know like, okay, like to a certain extent, my opponent base is still going to be bringing somewhat meta things. So it's like, okay, like what am I struggling with? Is it like draw that I'm not getting something down? Is it like I need more taunts?
You get a feel for your deck. You're not wrong.
Yeah, getting a feel of how it plays, because I think I get more of my wins when I know every card in my deck, or that's generally how I've been winning with DH so consistently, was like I just know how everything plays, or like with the shark play, it was just like, oh, I've been playing Rogue a lot lately, and I know that the shark's just like, I mean, I know you have scabs, I know you have like Astalor, it's just like I can't have this on board, and it's like there was like other things I was thinking about doing that time, but it's just like
danger.
It's just like
upset.
Let's see if I can get that or even game 1, but like the Druid game, like like I felt like I wasted my ignite on the brand, but at the same time it's like I need this gone. I know, like you have 8 mana.
That was 100% the right play. Do not feel bad about killing the brand. If you didn't kill the brand, it would have bit you so hard that it had to die. I actually, going into that turn, I got a little lost in the sauce. I messed up my mana count. I was just like, all right, I'm not gonna get a better Floop Scales than this, so I'm just gonna go for it and see where I get.
Yeah.
And just printing, more than one 8-drop Astalor was obviously the right call, and like it ended up working out. But that's where my head was thinking there. I was just like, I've got 7 mana, and I'd really like to have 8, because if I had 8, then I could have gone 8-drop into double Astalor with the brand up, but it wasn't meant to be, and unlucky.
That was another thing I was wondering. As I was looking at the list, I was like, why is he wanting scales instead of like the auto or whatever? Because auto's cheaper. But then again, I was like, well, is auto or whatever that card's called, is auto like
you're not Flipper Friends. Yeah.
Flipper Friends.
It clears the board a little better. Yeah.
I was wondering if it was like some other like spell school or something, but it's like, no, that wouldn't make sense. But it's just like, it
actually would have been a decent nature spell, honestly, for this challenge. But it's scale is just a little bit better until like if you've got to play anti-aggro and clear.
Yeah.
Whereas like leaving stuff on board's a little nervy. I think otters might have been better there, because I think I would have gotten more mana out of it. But in general, if you're gonna run just one, right now it's in fashion to run scale because you kill more stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense because it like you have like innovate and other stuff, but it's like, why do you just like? I mean, it's cheaper, and I don't know. But then again, it's like
innovate's in there in case I never see guff. I can still brand a noob into the combo.
Mm-hmm.
So I can sort of artificially give myself 11 mana, which is what you need. So that's I think that's why the innovate was in there.
Okay. Yeah. Yep.
Well, thank you both so much for letting us cast your matches. It's always really fun to do, and it's neat for us. And I really appreciate it. I hope you guys had fun, and
thanks for not banning DH. I was like, when Nate said that, I was like, oh, he might just do it. Like, I'm right here. It's like,
I didn't have. I was just like, listen. This is a scrimmage. This was a showcase.
Yeah.
I was like, there's no. I can't. I have to let Kay play the DH, even if I lose to it. I can't get swept by it. It's not season 2 rules, so let's roll with it.
yeah.
But I thought you I always love playing against Kay just because her decks are so creative and kind of approach things even a little bit differently, and
I agree.
I have a lot of fun looking at the lists and kind of
got
following the thought process.
when we did some play testing together, and I got absolutely stomped by the Demon Hunter and all. It was like, whoa, it's just wall after wall of like giant demon with taunt, and I just could not deal with it. And I was like,
yeah. Yeah.
And so it's all, it's so tempting to like, I don't know, to play like aggressively, right? And sometimes those type of decks, like, they'll just run out of steam, or a giant taunt comes down, like, I
guess
can't deal with that, right?
Yeah.
So
Yep. But yeah, I had fun. Kind of wish I drew my demons, but still had fun. But yeah, I want to kind of get on ladder a little bit, see if I can get to gold 5 before the season ends. But I don't know if I'll make it.
Sounds
Good
good.
luck,
Well,
Jay.
got about 2 hours left. But thank you guys again so much, and really had a lot of fun. I appreciate you guys participating and letting us stream.
Yeah,
so
no problem.
thank you much.
Well played to you both. Is there anyone who you would like to shout out or thank, or anything that y'all would like to say, kind of as parting words as we wrap the interview up?
Yeah, or anything you'd like to promote, if you've got us like social media or anything that you want to.
I mean, I'm on Twitter. Now I gotta remember, is it Card Game Design 1 or Card Game Designer 1? I can't remember. But yeah, like the thing that, or what I use in my, or when I'm talking on Twitch or whatever, that's my Twitter handle. But I mean, then again, like, I don't know, it's like Board Game Design. Yeah, Card Game Design 1 is my Twitter handle, which I'll sometimes post, like, it's a mixture between board game design and Hearthstone is mostly all that I post. But yeah, or responding to people randomly. But yeah, it's thanks to the listener series for hosting, or Born to Be Wild cast and crew. Good luck to the rest of the people, or like the upcoming matches, and or good luck to the people who are going to make playoffs, and it's probably not going to be me.
Not me either.
Yeah. But yeah, I look forward to playtesting, and and I gotta look at next week and probably dismantle the decks I just played. Like, I just don't have the deck space, so I have to use like the previous decks, like eliminate. Well, some of them are favorites. Like, some of them I'm like, oh, I want to save this one, but well, I don't know. I just need to make more Google Doc list of this and save the link.
Never enough deck slots, that's for sure.
And I've never been able to fill them up, so that's the opposite problem.
Well, I can hook you up with some if you want, like random.
I suggest a private Discord server. That's what I use. I just plop all my decks in a vault.
Oh, there you go.
Smart.
Yeah.
All right, SchmoopieDaddy, what about you? Any parting words?
Sure. Shout out to my wife, who will, although she's supportive, will probably not watch this. I'll try to rope her into it. I'll drop the link. I'll be like, "Hey, babe, want to watch me play some Hearthstone?" And she'll be like, "Not really." And I'm like, "Please, please." And then maybe she will. My buddy Neon Heron, who I will also bug. Be like, "Hey, buddy, you want to watch me play some Hearthstone?" And he'll be like, "Oh yeah," but then he'll ghost me. And I'll be like, "Hey, buddy, Have you checked it out recently? Oh yeah, I got a late shift tonight. I'll watch it. And honestly, a shout out to Kay because this was kind of a last minute arrangement. We like showcasing the challenge each week, and we like playing decks, and I'm more than happy to get humiliated on a weekly basis on stream. So I really appreciate Kay coming in and being a good sport and a sparring partner.
Oh,
and
trust
just,
me,
bringing some decks.
I complained heavily about your use of Astalor. So
But that's perfect.
Yeah, if Astalor wasn't there, or I don't know, if the quest mage didn't have like 2 ice blocks in there or something, like, I don't know.
2 ice blocks and a couple frozen alibis.
And then 9 mana card that just like generates the replays the
reward, yeah.
Yeah, all the fun cards that I'm just like, yeah.
Okay, I mean, the top of ladder, we play fun stuff, quote unquote.
Fun stuff, yeah.
Yeah, we have a lot of fun, and then we uninstall for weeks, and then we play again. But anyway, that's who I wanted to shout out.
Yeah, it was good.
Thank you all for watching us live here. We appreciate that. And join us next week as we enter week 5. One more challenge before playoffs. So thank you all, and we'll see you next week on another episode of
More to be wild.